Today we're going to be talking all things that have been happening in Father John Misty land, Screamland. What are your thoughts, mate?
Good morning, mate. Wow, what a comeback for Mr. Josh Tillman. I'll be honest, mate, the first, 30, 40 seconds, I kind of thought, we're heading back to his last kind of previous albums, which were great, don't get me wrong, but I was hoping for a bit more, but then all of a sudden it hits the chorus, mate, and it is absolutely sensational. I mean, the lyrics pre-chorus, I'm going to quote, stabbing into the ashtray like it might give up the truth, like it might finally confess who else is you're nearly faithful to. And then it kicks into that stay young, get numb. Oh, mate, it is absolutely brilliant. Coming in at 6 minutes, I kind of thought, what have we got here from the previous track? Coming in at 8 minutes, I thought this is going to be long, but absolutely loved it from start to finish, mate. Your thoughts?
Actually, I've got a couple of different views on this. I think that I didn't mind the start of the song. I felt that the chorus is just a little bit too modern.
Yeah,
if
right.
that makes sense. Like it feels like the Coldplay song and a few other songs. Like there seems to be artists at the moment that are going into this big chorus thing. It's almost like, they're trialing out for maybe American Idol or something like that. I don't know. They maybe want one of the guys to sing off their song on that show.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I thought the start was good. It was a very sort of moody piece. It did get into this big chorus. I didn't think it was terrible, by the way, but I'm not the biggest fan of these big choruses that these artists seem to be coming out with.
That's a fair comment, mate. But look, it's not often that we disagree on indie minors. We're normally pretty much on the same page.
This one. Yeah.
I love it, but I do have a question for Father John Misty and how this is going to come across live. I mean, he's doing tours coming up in US and the UK. If he's playing this every night, this is a huge toll on the old voice, I reckon, mate, kicking into the chorus. But I love it, mate. I might not be for everyone, but reading the comments, Father John Misty's back. I absolutely love it.
With the video, let's talk about that. That's a bit interesting, right? Like, we're of the generation that isn't familiar with the TikTok type of video style, but he's just gone all TikTok on everyone and shooted the video in a vertical format. What do you think about that? I thought that was interesting.
I think it's genius. It's a great move. I think there's not that many artists kind of doing that, so he's really trying to branch out into the kind of TikTok, YouTube short kind of way. And look, it works. Even in putting it onto the TV or big screen, if you're streaming it, I still think it comes across really well. And I think the point of the actual what he was trying to achieve in the film clip and the song, he kind of nailed it, filming in that kind of format. So I don't know, might not be for everyone, but I liked it.
I didn't mind it. It was all right, but I must admit, when you're watching it on TV, you notice the black either side. So it's sort of a bit of a waste of screen space. But at the same time, I think it's got some artistic merit in shooting things that way, just given that people are, in a lot of ways, getting their screen time in the vertical these days, as opposed to in the traditional format where it's all horizontals. Let's talk about the previous single. Now, the previous one that was part of the Greatest Hits album, I guess Time Just Makes a Fool of Us All. What are your thoughts on that one? That one's different to Screamland. There's a little bit more going on with that one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is classic Father John Misty, actually. I mean, coming in at, as I mentioned before, just under kind of 9 minutes, you're kind of wondering how's this going to go. But for some reason, he just nails it every time, mate. There's just something about his statesmanship, his voice, the lyrics that overlay the song. I don't know. There's just not that many artists out there who can produce a 9-minute song. You can play it more than once in a row and you're getting something new out of it every time, because he just has these really kind of comedic kind of lyrics that every time you kind of put it on, you just go, I don't know. This guy's just an absolute genius.
I think this is good. I thought this was really good. Like, it had a bit of a disco, sort of a yacht rock type of a vibe. I don't know. This is Studio 74. I can't remember. There was something
54.
Studio something 54 was Studio 54. I had a Studio 54 maybe vibe to it. A little bit of White Party. I'm not sure if you can say that these days with. I'm not sure if that's. I might just say it, but It had something to it. It would just had a bit of colour to it. I thought that was really good. And it did get into the greatest hits album. Now, I want to talk about that, Al. Just a question without notice. Greatest hits albums. Are they just glorified playlists? What's going on?
Of course they are. In the world of Spotify and all that kind of stuff, mate, it's just a mere cash cow. And whether or not he made a few dollars out of it, I don't really know. I think it's more of a stopgap between Chloe and the next century and this new album coming out. And fair enough, why not? Give the fans something. In the meantime, you did give them a new song, which will feature on the new record, mate. And for the life of me, I can't fucking pronounce the name of this bloody new album. It does mean great cremation ground in Sanskrit. So what do you...
Mashhana.
That's the
Mahashhashna. It's like a tongue twister, isn't it?
It is a bit of a tongue twister. So let's get into that. So we've had 2 official tracks, and if you Google it, you can find 2 other live tracks that he's performed so far. So of the other 8 tracks, what are you expecting for the rest of this album, mate? And what album do you think it might be closest to?
I think that'll be similar to his DNA. Like he's very brooding. It does talk about there being sort of emotional depth, but he's already got emotional depth in all of his back catalogue. I think it's just going to be a continuation of what he's good at, which is great. I don't think anyone's really expecting some arena pop rock coming out of Father John Misty. I just no one's expecting it, nor anyone's asking for it. So I think it's going to be marketed as his best album yet, but don't all artists sort of say that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Absolutely, mate.
I don't know. I think you're just going to get more of the same, which some artists should go and scratch your head and say, oh, look, more of the same. Bloody hell. I don't know. For Father John Misty, he does bits and pieces of more of the same, but it's always interesting. It's similar to kind of Radiohead and The Smile. They do things that are what they're good at doing, but they always seem to be interesting when you listen to it. So I think that's probably where I see it.
Yeah, I agree, mate. And you're in the damned if you do, damned if you don't camp here, really, aren't you? Because if you produce exactly what the fans want, then, that's great. But then if you don't, you go out and do something new, then you get, polarised. So I don't know. I'm personally looking forward to the album. I think it's going to hark back right to the kind of start of his career, really, and when he became Father John Misty. And I think the opening track, which again goes for 9 minutes, is going to be an absolute belter. Whether he releases that one before the actual album launch in November will be interesting. Bit of a watch this space. We might give it another review before then, mate. But I'm very much looking forward to November 22nd, I believe, when the release of this new album comes out.
So let us know in the comments, what do you think of Screamland? What did you think of the first single? What do you think of greatest hits albums? Are you a big fan of White Party? I bet it's that. But anyway, we're going to keep an eye on Father John Misty. As Al said, we'll take a look at the new album when it comes out in November.